All right. Hello. We're back. Um,
What is
as
up,
always,
everyone? How's it going?
yeah.
Recapping Final Six today. Real excited. It was I love Final Sixes are always interesting because the vote is always it can be manipulated in weird ways. But I think the way it ended up being this week was kind of interesting, but it seemed pretty straightforward up until the vote. And we'll get to that in a bit. But how'd you feel about this episode, Sabrina?
Um, yeah, Final Six is definitely a tricky spot to navigate if like you're in a situation, I guess, where the game is very hectic and you have different avenues that you could take and there's not really one clear person that you can take out. Like obviously as we saw Mitch go again this season, that was that was the decision that they made, but they could have like that week like used it to take out a bigger threat, but
Mm-hmm.
or like take out this other player, like maybe a like non-threat, so they call it. But yeah, so I feel like Final Six is definitely a pivoting point in the game where after six, like you have to be sure like how you want to get to the end, because from there it can be really tricky.
Yeah. And coming from last week, losing Cat, it's the balance is very heavily in the favor of that Wentworth four group, and Cam and Mitch are definitely much worse off now.
Mm.
And one interesting thing is Cat told Jake that he was playing a good game, like after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, if heroes are recognizing villains now, like game wise, how much more do the heroes have to play now to win at the end? Because it seems like a lot of people are thinking that they're getting all their votes off likability right now. Do
Mm-hmm.
they have to step it up, you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever a time where you shouldn't be stepping it up in the game. Like if you see that there are people who are obviously like doing the thing, um, you need to make sure that you can match that. So I think, when you see heroes starting to applaud villains, oh my God, sorry, I updated my laptop and I don't know how to put it on do not disturb. Um, but yeah, so if you see heroes starting to applaud villains, I don't think you can just rely on like, oh, like whatever heroes in the end are gonna like get whatever votes. Like the people who play this game, they want to give the person who plays the best game the title of sole survivor. So like I just think inevitably, and especially at this stage of the game, you don't have that much time left, so you need to start making moves.
Especially with the players that are on jury currently. Like Austin, I cannot imagine Austin not voting for the person who he feels played the best, so instead of voting for a friend.
Mhm.
Cat to Owen.
Mhm.
Most of the jury, I feel like, recognizes game. I feel like Hannah will recognize game. I just think that she might be very angry towards some people specifically. You might not
Mhm.
vote for them, but I do think she's not like she still considers gameplay very heavily because she's such a gamer too.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's been seen how like I think it was this episode where we saw, or was it Cat's episode? I can't oh, I think it was Cat's episode, yeah, where Jake was going down the list of like who he thinks would be like a bitter juror, whatever, saying that Hannah may be a little bit emotional, but like as we know that she's like played a ton of games of Survivor, so it's like obviously she respects the craft, if you may.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I don't think this jury is going to hold grudges in that way, because ultimately this is All Stars and they want to see the best win. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the beginning of the episode with the challenge. What do you think of the challenge? I love this challenge.
I think it was a really fun challenge. Also, just really good bonding experience for Survivor as a whole. I hope we have more ice challenges in the future. I think it was just super fun. I mean, also like, you know, super simple premise, but like sometimes like you just got to get the basics down to
And
ultimately
you get
win.
an absolute battle between Cam and Abby at the end.
Oh, that was great. That was awesome. I mean, both of them were just kept on rocketing goals and like super great, super fun. I was almost jealous because I kind of wanted to try it, but I don't know. It just looked like a very fun challenge. So yeah.
Uh, and they started off close and they kept going back and they still kept making it.
Hmm.
They're really showing up. Like Jack, Jack had some funny shots,
Yeah.
like real wide ones going. And at one point, Mitch had like a massive whiff. Like
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, everyone seemed like relatively into it. I love how they all like wore their little helmets because obviously safety comes first. But yeah, so super fun challenge. And definitely a very great battle towards the end, in just Abby and Cam rocketing goals
yeah.
in. So
And Abby prevails. She gets a chance to give the idol clue to someone. She gives it to Jack, but this idol clue is
mhm,
pretty interesting because it's possible they're not actually looking for an idol if there are already 3 idols found in the game. Which
mhm,
I think is actually I like that Luke told them that kind of it offers a little kind of like twist on should we be looking, and it also puts the idea in people's head that oh my god, are there 3 idols out right now?
yeah, totally. I mean, especially when there are 6 people left, like, that's really intense because the wrong people, like, if you're someone and then the people that I guess are considered the wrong people to have an idol, you're kind of screwed. Like, at
Yeah,
Final 6, you cannot afford, if there are going to be that many idols out there, you cannot afford to not, or like, yeah, to like not look. Like you have to
exactly.
look. Like if
Because
there's a
if
clue, you
other
have to
people have
look.
one, you need one, especially at
Mhm.
that final 5 vote. If there's a chance that people have that there's at least 2 found, like you don't want to be the person that's stuck one or the other at final 5.
Mhm. Yeah. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Um, so yeah, I think
Also,
that is a cool twist
it
anyways.
actually wouldn't even be that because depending on who wins immunity too, it could be there's 3 idols, a fourth person has it individual immunity, and then you get Sarit out.
Mhm. You better know where those idols are if you're not the person who has them.
Mhm.
So that's that. And you, if with that knowledge, you got to vote smart. And that's all I have to say. You better game hard. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely interesting seeing Abby give the idol clue to Jack. Um, but yeah, so going into this week, we see everyone kind of like knowing what they're doing, not really knowing what they're doing. Immediately, Jake wants to get either Cam or Mitch out. So they're the two heroes left in the game. Um, do you think that targeting a hero this week, like going into a final 5, was the move, or do you think this was a spot to get one more villain out, or do the villains want to stay like maybe Wentworth strong, like one last
So
time?
I think that for Jake, it's the right move to get out Cameron Mitch. I think for well, I don't know. Jack gets the right room to get out Cameron Mitch because he knows Jake has an idol and is playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for Jake and Abby, I also think it's good for them. I think Gabby it wasn't the best move, but I also still think she's in a good spot after this episode still. Like I don't think her position worsened because she didn't flip with Cam and Mitch to take out Jack. But I don't think it's any better either because she didn't commit to it, so she doesn't get caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What do you
totally.
think?
Yeah, I think for Jake it was definitely the move, because I mean, just like out of everyone, like I obviously we keep on talking on recap time and time again how Jake is just like blowing it out of the park, you know. But of course, like you do have to have that worry, and especially like the way that Jake lost in his first season. Like you need to make sure that you have the game and you have the likeliness, or whatever the word is. I don't know. I'm not
Mhm.
very good with words, but you've got to have like jury favor still, you know. So it's
And
one thing to be an absolute gamer, but yeah, you gotta have both to win.
that's when I question, did they target the right hero this week? What, like, was Mitch the person to take out over Cam? Because a lot of this episode we see Mitch, although he like is fighting, he very much is content with how he's done, and he seems like the fight is almost left him. Like he
Mhm.
seems, if that, like he says, if that one word four stays together, like what's even the point? And like skipping way ahead, like he at the end after the revote, he tells people to vote for him over Cam because he wants to give Cam the chance.
Mhm.
Um, I think, I mean, that's obviously speaks to Mitch's character, just he's a great person. I
Yeah.
think that also does speak to Cam's game that he's willing to do that for her. And I think that if someone that you're sending to the jury just does that, I know that would piss them off to go against their wishes, but you are now just sending a vote for Cam to the jury because it's like Brendan and JT and Token Sheets. Brendan at the merge was like, my goal, if I'm not like, I kind of want to make JT win more than I want to win because he thought he was such a good person.
Wow.
So I'm thinking like, and people thought that Mitch coming back was get like benefited him in the jury, but I feel like
Mhm.
it weakens him. It kind of is like these are all people with second chances. Now he's got a third chance.
Mhm.
He already got voted out once. The person he's sitting next to, like, they haven't. They've simply played the game better because they have not gotten voted out. I feel even if they didn't have the opportunity to be voted out because of team immunity, that's part of the game.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's definitely a really interesting point where it's like, did you vote out the right hero? Because basically, like you were saying, like they both have their pros and cons. Like Mitch being given a third chance definitely could hurt him or help him because obviously, like, you know, having been voted back in, he didn't have to like last those like few weeks where he wasn't in the game like everyone else did and whoever he would be like sitting next to. But at the same time, he was viewed by players that like everyone in this merge voted out, and he was perceived as the person who would be able to be most successful. So obviously, there's also something there. Um, but for both Mitch and Cam, the thing is with them is that they're both really likable people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like if you're gonna go based off of that factor, that's really tough because the thing is, like, you know, at like they were saying, like everyone loves Mitch, everyone loves Cam, you know, so and like their friends are like people that they're friends with are on the jury. So either way, like whoever you send on there and whoever you keep, like they're both going to have each other still in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because Cam probably would vote for Mitch if Mitch was at the end too. That's a good point.
Hmm. Yeah, pretty
Now,
much. But
some
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say something really interesting with this vote was since Abby won immunity,
Mhm.
Jake has an idol. Now, with one more person, either Gabby or Jack, if those three vote together, it's impossible for any three of them to go home this
Mhm.
week. So I was very confused when I saw the 2-2-2 vote split come up because it seemed a little risky because say Mitch and Cam actually voted for Jack and Gabby does flip and vote out Jack, you have a 3-2-1 there and Jack's gone.
Mhm.
And then the game's really turned because you have Mitch and Cam, you have Abby and Jake, and you have Gabby right sitting pretty in the middle. That would have been I would have lost my mind if I saw that. That would have been so fun.
Oh, totally. I mean, that would have been such a turn of events. That would have been really cool. When Gabby said in the episode, like, she was really thinking about possibly blindsiding Jack, I was like, girl, like, come on. Yeah, no, that could have been a very cool moment. And like with a vote breakdown like that, when you know like what it's going to be going in, like you can take that power and you can do that. I mean, of course, it would cause a lot of chaos after. So like you do have to pick and choose, especially when you're in Gabby's position where you are like sitting in a spot where both Jake and Jack trust you. So yeah.
Yeah. And mostly see, it's hard to say like did Gabby make the right move this week just sitting and just going along with the other three.
I think
She says she's very suspicious of Jack. I
mhm,
do think she'll have more up. She has 5, 4, 3 potentially to take out Jack still.
mhm.
Just will she have the votes to get it? I don't know.
I just think like making that move, like taking out Jack instead of Mitch this week could have been huge for her resume because that's her literally seizing the power. Like she knows where the votes were going. Like because the thing in Survivor, like information is huge. So not only is it like do you have the information, but it matters what you do with that information.
Mhm.
So that type of move could have been really big.
I wish she made it. I really do.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's impossible to say what what will happen if she had made that move, but it would have been great television.
for
Gabby's
sure.
always great television, but that would have been great
Oh,
television.
oh, totally, totally. Oh my god, I would have loved to see that vote breakdown. Also, just like really satisfying 3-2-1 vote. I don't know. I just think
Hmm.
that's cool. But
I'm a huge fan of a 3-2-1 vote.
lovely, love it. But yeah, I mean, as we see, like through the episode, like of course we see the ideas in Gabby's head. So like I guess Jack's like regularly scheduled program tweak.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that made me laugh.
yeah. Very great. Very, very great. But yeah, I guess that tweak was valid because like people are obviously starting to think about it if like it kind of got into Gabby's head. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess what would Jack's path be moving forward, and can he keep his cool enough to like actually move forward?
I think Jack had a really bad episode. This episode, I think he was so vulnerable. And well, he one good thing he does is he does clock that he thinks Jake has 2 idols. So he might planning for next week, he might be able to work around that, having that suspicion, like thinking with that mentality. I wrote it down. Where do I have it? I think that I think I don't know. It's really hard to say. He thinks that he's doing great because Jake and Abby aren't sticking with him. He was like, these people are so dumb. Like, if I'm not being targeted right now, I must be having the best social game. But we see Can like absolutely just obliterate Jack. She's like, I don't trust him anymore. I want to get him
Mhm.
out. We
Yeah.
see Gabby willingly turning on him while Jack thinks he has Gabby still.
Mhm.
Or not willingly turning on him, just contemplating turning on him.
Yeah.
So I'm not super confident in Jack's position. I think he has the hardest path, honestly, out of these 4 left to get to the end. I think
Mhm.
he does have the credentials to win. I just don't see him being able to give his case. I don't know who takes him.
Yeah, he's really gotta like ramp it up because like he's been in a position of power the entire game, but what does it matter if you can't navigate those last steps?
I just like I
That's
don't
what
know
matters.
who is going to. I guess he can play up the people hate me, like the people don't like me factor, like
Yeah.
Like he's angered a lot of people in the game, but again, like we discussed earlier, like we don't think this jury's voting like that.
Mhm. No, yeah, no. I don't think this jury would vote like that. And it's like, yeah, you can make that a point, but it's like you definitely need to back it with like other stuff, you know? I mean, he could definitely talk about his relationships, like he could talk about his relationship with Madison, like in the game, but then who knows, maybe a juror would come back and be like, well, like, why didn't you save her? Like anything like that. Like, how
Yeah.
did you use your position of power to like actually like do something? So, like, I don't know. I think he needs to really be able to navigate the last part of this game and like get it together and like be able to word it. So, because it's like, if he is able to go through it, like, who knows who he would sit next to? So, like, I don't know. You've got to prepare, which I think he definitely would, of course, put in the time and all that to prepare, but it's all about the outcome and what you say.
I honestly think Abby might have been a good target for him to take out this week. Obviously, he couldn't because she won
Mhm.
immunity, but
Mhm.
I think it would have weakened Jake for next week. And even
Mhm.
though Jake still has that idol, he doesn't have the automatic +1 vote with him
Yeah.
because those two are tight. So I
Yeah.
think they vote together or their plans are together, even if their votes go to two different people. They know they're in
Mhm.
sync all the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, essentially both of them like have two votes. I don't know. I'm not wording this correctly. See, I'm not good with words. So, um, yeah, I
They're
mean,
a two vote block
they're
essentially.
a two vote block, and like at this point of the game, that's kind of everything. So,
It's a two vote block that can be split. Like
mhm.
they they move. I don't know what I'm trying to say. They move like water together.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. Yeah, and that's definitely dangerous. And doing that would also be something big for Jack's resume. So, yeah, I mean, we couldn't see that chaos ensue, of course, because Abby was safe, but could always dream. Anyway. But yeah, so
Heading into
um
tribal. Should we
oh,
should we
sorry?
go to tribal for
Yeah.
the vote just to because there were some interesting points brought up. Mainly for me was something Gabby said about timing, and I think that was very thematic or yeah, very thematic of her situation this week and
Mhm.
was the timing right for her to make her move.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, timing is kind of everything. I mean, I feel like I say that so many things are everything, but timing is huge because if you do something too soon or too late, like that could throw off your entire game. Um, like, a lot of people at this point, especially in an all-star season, are running through their head, if I do this, like, will this happen? And blah, blah, blah. So you really have to make sure that what you're doing, and even if like you don't know exactly what you're doing, or if you're like not that confident, I guess, in what you're about to do,
Mhm.
you have to at least have like the confidence almost after. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but like confidence in it after and like kind of get to it to like make sure that like what you did will pay off in some sort of way. In a way. I don't know. I think that was just kind of like
Mhm.
hot trash that spewed from my mouth, but hopefully you know what I mean. I don't
No,
know.
I got what you were saying. I think there's a lot of importance in when you have confidence in a plan to not second guess yourself. I have much experience with second guessing a plan and then screwing myself because of it.
Mhm.
If if you did like go having the confidence to make the move and then sticking with the move, you will be better off if you to just go full throttle into something instead of being half in, half out.
Mhm.
And I think Gabby realizing that she wasn't ready to be full into it, so she did back out. So she just didn't do anything in general. I think it doesn't hurt her. I don't fault her for it.
Yeah. No.
She isn't
I
in the
don't
worst
know.
stage right now.
Yeah. She's definitely like not I don't think she's, like, in a bad spot. I think she's, like, in a spot where she can really like, now, like, going into Final 5, I think she's in a spot where she can really elevate her game and, like, play that really hard last stretch. So, excited to see what happens, there anyway. But, yeah, I mean, going into the vote, we see them all discussing all that, but, yeah. But yeah, so we see the 2-2-2 split. Jake is still safe since he plays his idol. We see Mitch, you know, kind of surrender almost in a way. Like we kind of talked about before, like that speaks kind of to Cam's game that like he would want her to go forward. But yeah, and then ultimately we see Mitch go out. So having Mitch go out, having Cam as the remaining hero with 4 villains, how is that going to shape this final 5?
I think always when like you're looking at a distinction in a group on Survivor and it's always down to just one person left on one side, I think that always means that something else is happening. A lot of the times you don't see the full pagan. You don't see the alliance stick together all the way to the end. So I
Mm-hmm.
think Cam is definitely still a target. I don't think she's dead in the water. I think she has the ability to maneuver. I think
Mm-hmm.
I did was it I don't know if she said it in this episode, but I do think she gained a lot of mobility losing Cat. I think it
Mm-hmm.
really is a good opportunity for her to now come into this game on her own and just create her own path instead of people viewing her as Cat's second in command.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we did talk little bit about it last week, but I think we're really starting to like kind of see how she's like maneuvering through it. Um, because, you know, like the decisions that she's making right now are going to be like credit to her. Like we're seeing her play without Cat and like there's no excuses. Like you can't say like, oh, she was just like Cat's shadow, you know? Like now, you know, she's playing for herself and it's like really apparent. So like even though she lost Cat, like she can that almost kind of gives her something to talk about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, she had to navigate, and that definitely says a lot when, like, someone that close to you is taken out and you can, like, work through that. That is something that's impressive.
Yeah, so it Cam's target increases a little, I think maybe because of the perception that oh now she's the only hero to get votes from the heroes on the jury.
Mhm,
But I think Jake said earlier in the game like he doesn't think Cam deserves to win. So why is he gonna target her? Why is he gonna take her out? It wouldn't make
mhm.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, yeah, Jake's going to play the way that he wants to play and, like, the way that he thinks that will get him the most votes in the end. So if he's looking at someone who he thinks won't get that many votes, like, of course you're gonna keep them in because, you know, you wanna keep people around you that you can beat. But at the same time, you know, you do wanna well, I mean, when you get to, like, the last stretch, you know, you wanna take those people out that you think can beat you, but, like, at this
Mm-hmm.
point of the game, like, you don't wanna take someone out who, like, could shield you, and you don't wanna take someone out that, like, you think you can definitely beat. Like, you want to go in with options, so I think, I guess I don't know. It is tricky. I think it kind of still goes back to that whole like, did you take the right hero out
Yeah,
type of thing. I don't know. I feel like it just keeps going back.
we'll
But yeah,
see.
we'll
I'm
see.
thinking I'm thinking instead of the typical accolades we give MVP,
Mhm.
LVP, worst off. I'm thinking that since we're going into Final Five, let's do like winner stock. Like out of these five, who has the best chance to win, who has the worst chance to win, and like go through
Um,
them.
yeah, I think. before we do that, we should get a little bit of an opinion from someone that
Is he here?
mhm.
No way.
Everyone, once again, say hello to Mitch. Hi, Mitch.
Hey
Oh my
guys,
god,
how's it
Mitch with the cut
going?
hair.
With the haircut, yeah.
How are you doing?
Looks
Oh my goodness. I'm doing all right. I'm home currently. I got a big Quidditch event this weekend, but senior year, living life, Feeling
Living
good,
life.
guys. Yeah.
Nice, nice. We miss you, Mitch.
I miss you guys. Been such a crazy senior year, guys. This year is crazy. Oh my
For
goodness.
sure.
I don't think I could have played Survivor at all this year. It's a lot.
How was
Good to
it
see you
to
guys.
watch back your vote again?
Hard,
Second time this
have
season.
a second time, yeah, twice in one season is a little rough. Look back and every time you can always look back and say, "Oh, I should have done this, should have done this," but I'm pretty happy with how my game played out. I think a lot of people deserved that second chance, and I felt really, really lucky to have gotten that and to gone as far as I did. Like
Mhm.
I said in the episode, Legends go out at 6. That's what Geneva always told me. So gotta live up to
Fair
that
enough.
legacy.
Fair enough. I mean, I feel like you just had such a cool path throughout this game. I mean, also really unique, like you're the only person in Survivor Syracuse history to be voted back into the game. So definitely a feat and an all returner season. So
Yeah, no,
I guess now that we're talking once more here on recap after the fact, how did it feel being launched back into a season that, you were kind of like away from for a little bit and then like all of a sudden being thrown right back in?
yeah. I mean that gap. I don't know if people understand, but that time like might have been only been like 2 weeks, but I feel like I missed so much of the game between then. Specifically, knowledge about different the split up, the different tribes and how close they were.
Mhm.
So being thrown back into the game, I was scared. Why not just vote him right back out? Like that was an easy move. I got lucky with some bigger threats at that point in time. Uh, I feel like I knew I had to perform in challenges, and I truly did my best. Although watching back that episode, should have tried to keep my skills of hockey that I learned when I was at 5 years old, but didn't show up in the episode, so that was rough.
Damn. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, challenge piece, I would say, for sure.
oh,
Like,
definitely.
mhm,
Yeah,
How
yeah.
that
many how
was.
many Survivor Syracuse contestants can dunk a basketball? Because Mitch might be in a very exclusive club there too.
Oh,
That's
for
all
sure.
I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you all were there. You see me dunk on Luke, and you know, whoever needs to know knows that it happened. So
Y'all heard it here first. Oh, maybe first? Y'all heard it here anyway. That Mitch can dunk and he's dunked on Luke. Yeah. I
So
don't know.
Mitch, what do you think you could have like done differently? Like where did you go wrong in the game, and like what was the point that it started to like you didn't think you had a shot anymore?
I coming back into the game, I didn't think I had a shot. I thought it's an uphill battle. I knew I was kind of in a weird position between being a hero still, but trying to survive because we didn't have numbers at that point. Um, so I was really just trying to get through every week, and I don't think I had really any like long-term plans set up. I didn't know um, where people were going to end up, and so it was hard to make any plans. It was just kind of fighting each week.
Mhm.
But I think the biggest thing was probably not convincing Hannah to vote for Jake that week. It was a very pivotal moment. Jake was a huge threat the whole game. He was, a big threat to me, and I tried to do what I could to keep my on his good side because he had a lot of power throughout the whole merge. Um, and the fact that they were just that close to getting them out that week could have changed my game in terms of numbers. And so I feel like I didn't do enough convincing of Hannah. But at the same time, I wasn't gonna let her go out without, voting
Mhm.
with her. I had to keep that loyalty to her, and whatever she wanted to do, I was ready to do that with her. But that was probably the biggest change I think that I would have made. And then just another like thing, like I mentioned, not understanding the connections after the tribe split into three and then back was that Wentworth group. I don't think I even realized that they were all on Team Wentworth until like Final Seven. And I was like, oh wait, aren't they all still from the same like tribe? Uh, totally slipped my mind. So that was kind of a blunder on my part.
Hey, it happens. It gets confusing, like, when you get deeper and deeper into the game and, like, I don't know, I guess you kind of almost forget where those lines were, but then at the most crucial times, of course, you're reminded. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
don't know,
do
did you
have another question based off what you just said. Because at the
hmm
beginning of the season, it's heroes villains. Then at the swap, it ends up dissolving back into basically heroes villains. And then in the merge, do you feel that those lines really did continue? Because from my perception, it seems almost like taking out Owen and Hannah wasn't really like crossing the line. It kind of just felt like a quick shed for that core group of Wentworth four that you just said you realized like, oh, they were all in the same tribe at the swap. Um, do you think that those team lines were ever crossed? Really?
Which team lines?
Like just heroes, villains in general, and I like Wentworth being villains still, and War Dog being heroes.
I think the Wentworth group had a really unique position, being that they were all villains once Eli was gone, because those first 2, 3 weeks of merge was really big on that villains versus heroes still. And I think, like I said, like I just kind of got caught up and didn't understand that there was still the Wentworth, War Dog, and Lolly tribe lines that I just, didn't factor into it because we were so caught up in, oh, it's heroes versus villains. And then, they didn't want to, they didn't want to vote on another hero. They had to shed that, like you said. And it didn't even click in my mind that it was Lolly, and then another War Dog. So it was, I think they were crossed, but I think that at the time when it was happening, is that it wasn't really viewed as a heroes versus villains being crossed, and no
Mhm.
one, and that it was really just oh, like this makes sense here because the majority thinks so, and we didn't understand who the majority was yet. At
Uh-huh.
least I didn't like fully see that connection.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, your inspiration is here. Mitch, I don't know if you saw that. Geneva is here in the chat.
Geneva, Miss Geneva.
Um, yes, 6th place, the Geneva placement, as you said.
hmm
Um, I guess now reflecting after having a really unique experience in a Survivor Syracuse season, being voted out twice. I don't know. Is there anything that you wish you could have done differently?
Um, win. That was probably the biggest thing. But I don't know. I mean, I echoed it, and I mean, I said this in the episode. I'll echo it right now. I was really just grateful to have that experience. My first time around with Survivor was filled with a lot of stress and anxiety, and um, I didn't really understand what I was getting into. And this second time around was just so much better in terms of how I felt that I played, how much I understood the game, and how I was able to connect with the people. I think that was a big thing for me, is getting to hang out with some awesome people, and a season of returnees was really cool to be a part of. Everyone is just so good and so smart, and it was awesome. Um, I accomplished my goal of getting to the merge. Um, that was my goal from the beginning. I came back into the game, like you said, Sam, first and only person in Survivor Syracuse history to be voted back in. That's pretty cool, I think. Um, and then to finish it off with Geneva's placement, I think was kind of a full circle thing for me. Um, Obviously, you wish you could win, but I was happy with how everything kind of played out, I
Awesome. I guess because I like to always ask this on recap. What's your favorite part of playing Survivor?
think. I've said this before. I'll keep saying it. It's the people. It's you. It's Mike. You guys you put this together. It's awesome. I used to be, Luke and Mel and Sachi and everyone, putting it together, and then the cast. It's really cool, and I think a lot of the connections aren't shown on screen. But I really made like a lot of good friends from this returnee season. I had some really special relationships, and that was really awesome, I think.
Amazing.
Great to hear. I love that. Thank you for shouting us out too.
Of
Yes, thank
course,
you.
you guys are legends.
It's
Both
I
as
only
players
feel
and
honored because you're
production.
also. Oh, sorry.
Just as I said, both as players and production, both legends.
Oh,
Thanks. It's honored to be called a legend by a legend. So, yeah,
Appreciate that, Sab.
of course, of course. Do we have any more questions here or in the comments?
no, I think I want to wait for comments a little bit because I know they gotta type it out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Type.
I don't know, but if there are no other questions, any last words, Mitch?
Um, I don't think I've got much else to say. I'm excited to see how the ending plays out, and hope y'all are looking forward to seeing me at that final tribal. From what I remember, I think I had a good question. I don't know though.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Well, we will see it very soon. We're really getting towards the end.
I was wondering how many more episodes are left. How many are
2
you gonna fit
episodes
that?
left.
2? All right.
Mhm.
Get excited.
Get excited,
Yes.
guys.
All right.
But yeah, Mitch, it's always a pleasure having you on. Oh, we do have one question. One question from Paul.
Mitch, how was your day? Paul, my day was pretty good. Um, Wish I could have been hanging out with some of the people here, you, Paul, Sad Mike, but hopefully we'll get to do that next time. Really good day though, Paul. You would be proud of me, that I can say.
Amazing. Yeah. Always a pleasure having you on, Mitch. A pleasure having you on twice for this season of recap. Very, very fun. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, just like thanks for coming on.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
being
me.
a player. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Keep up the great work. I'll be in touch.
Amazing. All right.
Hope to see you soon, Mitch.
See you soon, Mitch.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Always a pleasure having Mitch on recap. A pleasure to have him twice.
Always.
Yeah, so I guess let's go back quickly to the winner's stock before we wrap up.
So Jack, he's way at the bottom for me. I think he just simply has the hardest path to get there. I don't see it happening. I don't see him making it through 5-4. Is it revealed if it's a 2 or 3 yet?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think
Yeah, so
it is.
if he has to go, I don't see him making it past 5 or 4. If he has to go to 3, that just makes it even harder for him. I don't think he gets there. He's like plus 4,000 odds for me. Don't bet on Jack.
Fair. I feel like I'm in the kind of the same boat as you, especially since people are already starting to get their gears turning right now. He's got to really put in a lot of work and really hope that his connections throughout the game like paid off. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see, you know. But I guess so. Are we making this list together? Or are we doing? Or I don't know.
I think we could have different opinions. I think.
Okay.
Who would you put at 4?
At 4, that's at 4. I'm gonna put Cam at 4 because I think she definitely has the wiggle room to like get to the end, but she also has like that target as being the only hero left. And like it all depends on like the perception of the people who are left in the game if they think that someone with a game like that would get a ton of votes in the end. So yeah, I would keep Cam at 4, but I think she definitely has a much better path to get there than like Jack. So yeah, that'll be my 4.
I think I'm gonna put Cam at 4 too. We'll see what she does. I do think her path is still very hard. But I'm excited to see how she plays fully alone now. No Mitch, no Cat. This is Cam, all Cam from here on out. So I don't know. We'll see. I just think she has a hard point. I think they're gonna be scared that she's the final hero as a jury threat. I don't know. Cam getting there, I would be happy. I'd be surprised.
For sure. I agree. Who would you put for 3?
No, originally, I'm going to contradict myself from what I said earlier. I was saying, don't know if Gabby's in the best spot, don't know if Gabby's in the worst spot. I'm going to put Abby here, though, because I think Abby has the best chance at getting to the end out of everyone. Because I think she has the most allies willing to take her. And because I think the way Abby plays, she plays super alliance oriented and loyal. So people do respond to that with her. I just don't know who, like, if she has the case. She tells people like, watch the footage back. That you can't present the footage at your final vote. Like, I going in with that mentality, I'm not sure how to feel about Abby because I do think she's played a very good game. There's no doubt about that. She has been on the right side. Is it necessarily her agency? No, but there's no rule in Survivor that says you have to have agency to play well or to win. So yeah. I just think the sole fact that she's going to be at the end, I think she's definitely, or that I think she's going to be at the end, is just like, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I was going to put Abby at 3 too, actually, because like I think she has a really good chance of getting to the end. I think she has one of the most carved out paths to the end. Because of, again, like the perception that like people within the game have, because it's you have to deal with two different ends of perception. You have to deal with the perception of people within the game and then people who are going to be voting for you as a winner. So she definitely has the path, and I think she could definitely talk about like the connections she made that like got her there, because like her connection with Jake was like very big and like very crucial to like where she is now. But yeah, I agree. Like you can't just base your case off of stuff that people haven't seen. I guess like you have that's where you have to articulate it. So
Yeah, I guess it will come down to the speech for her that at that point.
mhm, for sure. But getting there, I think she can totally do that, you know. But like to win though, you need to have your case.
All right.
Um,
Who do you have it to? Because we might have the same list.
I have Jake at 2.
We have the
Actually,
same list.
okay. I have Jake at 2. I think he can, you know, if he plays his cards right and if he is able to get through these last few votes, I think if he were to make it to the end, he would be a clear-cut winner because he has both those social connections and he has the game to back it up. And on top of that, even though of course he like came into this game with like this snake Niebuhr mentality, like somehow throughout the game, everyone still just like went to see like what Jake thought and like all of that. And like you can't really call someone a snake, I think, if you're literally going to them and like putting
Yeah.
all your trust in them like that and like just kind of letting them play. So I think he definitely he's got it all except for this huge looming threat that could for sure like get him.
Yeah, I think this jury loves gameplay. I think Jake is a player to the core, and because of that, and because everyone knows that the jury is like this, and that Jake is such a big player, it does. Well, it's just as good for him. It's just as much of a double-edged sword, and it's a big target on his back. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't see who he loses next to. Like just going over all combinations of people Jake can sit next to, I don't see who he doesn't beat out in votes necessarily. It almost like it could be better for Jake to take Jack because they have played such similar games. I just think Jake has done it better and
Mhm.
he's more likable from it. So I think that like sitting next to someone who you easily compare to as better as comparing apples to oranges, it's like you might be in a better spot there. I think, yeah, Jake just has to get to the 2, and if Jake is sitting there, I don't see how he loses.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, kind of like going back to what you're saying about Jake and Jack having very similar games and like Jake kind of doing it better. I do definitely agree. I mean, I feel like throughout the game, we've been kind of talking about like, you know, Jake, Jack, and Abby, like Jake, Jack, and Abby, whatever. But if you really break it down, that core to that 3 is the 2, which is Jake and Abby, because those 2 are tight. That's something Jack didn't or like he didn't really have that. I mean, I guess he like had it with Madison maybe, but like he lost Madison pretty early and like
Mhm,
I feel like wasn't really able to like regain a connection like that. And he didn't save that type of connection, you know?
mhm.
So that in that aspect, I think Jake did it better. Um, I mean, it would be very interesting to see like those 2 and like how they would construct their arguments against each other. After kind of like going through the game, keeping each other around to like save themselves. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to
Um,
think about.
yeah, that
But yeah,
brings us to Miss
Gabby.
Gabby,
I
who
mean,
why do you think she's your highest, most likely to win?
I think just even just based off this episode, but like also just like the game overall, I think she had a really great social game, like having both Jake and Jack in her corner and like, you know, Mitch and just like people who had a lot of power in this game, like that will get you very far. But the thing with Gabby is that she knows that she needs to cut them off. And I think she has the drive to make those big moves when she needs to. And like she feels that the timing's right. And like we have said, like this entire season, timing is huge. And I think the jury knows that timing is a really huge thing. So to have someone sitting in front of you at the final vote who is telling you like how they're, how they made their calculations, blah, 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 like, and Gabby's able to get there and do that, I think she has it. Plus, she's not perceived as like this huge threat. So like she can kind of get there under the radar too. Like that's something that Jake has, like this huge target. But Gabby doesn't have that, which is why I do have her first.
That's my thing. Is like when do you take out Gabby? Like how do you justify to someone taking out Gabby over Jake or Jack or Cam, who all pose threats in different ways? When Gabby, since she is under the radar, like when do you vote out Gabby? I like she's sitting. She has so many options. I feel, especially because she didn't show her cards this week. She has the ability to stick or to flip, and I don't know. I just really like the position she's in. I think she can make the case at the end. I think I don't know her versus Kim. I don't know her versus Abby. Honestly, I don't know because they do. Abby's played a more like stick to the alliance, but like under the radar game. Gabby's played a more social under the radar game. So it's just like which one does the jury value more if they were against each other? I think Gabby would prevail. So that's why I have Gabby over Abby. And I also think Gabby would be Kim. I don't know. Kim is tough because just thinking like how is that jury gonna vote?
Yeah, totally. I mean, only time will tell,
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Well, time will tell tomorrow. For episode
24 hours. Oh my god.
Wow, look at that. Crazy, guys. Get ready. But yeah, I guess let's do a quick. I'm not gonna do the individual screen. There's only two of us.
It's only us. We say the same thing half the time.
That's basically. But yeah, I mean, here, I'll let you do the honors. Like,
subscribe to us at Survivor Syracuse on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Survivor Syracuse. If you are a student on Syracuse University, casting for season 8 is now open. The link is in our Instagram bio. Please feel free to fill it out. You never know what could happen. Our previous person we just had on just said, of course, do Survivor Syracuse. It's the best experience. I don't see why you wouldn't want to. I don't know. That's just me, though.
I mean, you see how fun it is, and you see that you're able to make a bunch of friends with like a bunch of cool people. So I don't think there's a downside, especially if you've got that competitive drive. Even if you don't, you still meet pretty cool people. So definitely a fun experience. Ring that bell. Apply for season 8. But yeah, thank you. And then to those of you watching right now, thank you for tuning in. To those of you watching it back later, thanks for watching. And to people who are maybe just watching the episodes, thank you so much. But yeah, so stay tuned for episode 15 of Survivor Syracuse Heroes versus Villains. And yeah, have a great evening, everyone. All right, let's go.
Now it's gotta take 2 seconds to end.